Welcome to the Be It Till You See It podcast, where we talk about taking messy action, knowing that perfect is boring. I'm Leslie Logan, Pilates instructor and fitness business coach. I've trained thousands of people around the world, and the number one thing I see stopping people from achieving anything is self-doubt. My friends, action brings clarity, and it's the antidote to fear. Each week, my guests will bring bold, executable, intrinsic, and targeted steps that you can use to put yourself first and be it till you see it. It's a practice, not a perfect. Let's get started. Welcome back to the Be It Till You See It interview recap, where my co-host in life, Brad, and I are going to dig into the confident convo I had with Elle Russ in our last episode.
It was that.
It was so confident. If you haven't yet listened to that interview, feel free to pause this now, go back and listen to that one, and then come back and join us. You have to listen to that one. I don't care what order you do your shit in, but like...
That's a great, amazing, like hard to break down into one thing to talk about episode, because there was so much good stuff.
So much good stuff. I mean, I sometimes I was just like, I'm just going to let her go, because like, I'm getting confident just listening to her. So yeah. I'm just...
It was exciting.
Just gonna like live off those words. So, anyways, I'm really excited about this interview. I've been wanting to have her on since before we started the pod. I heard her somewhere else, and like I was like, this girl has to be on. And I actually heard her talking about something else that she does with paleo stuff, and we ended up just chatting back and forth. And I was like, okay, you're talking about confidence. Like they're just gonna do that. So, anyways, I'm so glad we waited and we got her on at this time. And Brad, we are in this interesting, like it's on a lull, but it's an in-between. What do you call that? The space.
The messy middle.
We're in the middle. We literally just sent everyone out of our house.
Oh, yes.
After we were in Chicago. It was a freaking blast, as we told you. And then we came in, cleaned everything up again. And then like people came in. And then it was a whirlwind of people getting photos, people learning stuff.
Because we had the Pilates retreat, we had a business retreat at our house in Vegas. So we were in Chicago for POT, and then we hosted an event here, and now we are prepping to leave for Cambodia.
Yeah. So, and while we're prepping, we've got so many people coming to town for another Pilates situation with PMA, and it's like, I think we're going to have more coffee dates than we've ever had in our entire lives.
Yep.
But we're prepping for Cambodia, and I'm really excited. And if you are like, oh, I missed the business retreat, you freaking did. You just did. No, I mean, we missed you too. But when is the next one? There is not one on the books for 2023 because we actually have a lot of other stuff going on, and there's only so many weeks in the year, and one of those should be a vacation for me and Brad. So
true.
So you can get on the wait list for Profitable Pilates business retreats. We'll probably bring one back in 2024. And if you're like, that's too far away, guys, well, that's what agency is for.
Right. So if you want to get on the wait list to join us in person in Vegas, go to profitablepilates.com/retreats, plural, retreats. And if you are interested in more about agency and working with us before then, just go to profitablepilates.com/agency.
Yeah. You don't have to wait till 2024 to get hands in on your business.
That's true.
Even if you're like, I love in person, that's fine.
We love in person too.
We do too, but I don't want you to wait 2 years to get, you're like, we can totally make magic happen online before you get in person. Then we can do twice as much when you're here.
Yes.
All right. Well, now we had an audience question to respond to, I think.
Yeah. Well, this one was a collection of questions when we were in Chicagoland with Pilates on tour.
Why is it called Chicagoland?
Because it's not Chicago proper.
Yeah.
It's outside of Chicago. It was so exciting because I thought everybody knew that we go to Cambodia.
I know.
We talk about it so much, so often, and people were like so fired up to hear about it, and they were really excited about the idea of going there, and they were getting themselves on the wait list, and they were asking, because obviously we're leaving in less than a month now to go to Cambodia with our first group post-COVID. And we're really excited about that. But if you wanted to join us, the question is, how often do we go?
Yeah. So the reality is we've always wanted to go twice a year for retreats.
Yeah.
But given that people are still getting into the swing of traveling in this new normal that we're in, we only have one this year, and we're only planning one next year.
That's right.
Yeah.
By the way, if you haven't noticed, we're trying to reduce things.
Yeah. Do you see how we're doing that? We're being until we see it on this reduction policy over here. And it's not because we don't love it. Brad and I will probably go.
It's pretty much my favorite thing.
Yeah. We're definitely going to go because we got a couple trips to Korea that's happening. I'm definitely
we're going to go down. Yes.
Yeah. And if you're like, but Lesley, that means you guys can do another retreat. Yes, we could pack that in. But that's not what we're doing anymore. And so if we're doing one next year, so I highly recommend that you get on the wait list for that. We'll announce the dates probably towards the end of this year. We'll have it solidified. We're just waiting on a few dates from some other events that we've got to make sure that we're at. And
yeah, but it's going to be in the fall, like September, October, somewhere in there. 2023.
Yeah.
So by the way, if you're like, what the hell, I want to go right now,
you can
join us. We still have room on the one that's happening in starting on October 30th, 2022. But if you know that's not going to work for you and you want to join us next year, get yourself on the wait list. Go to leslielogan.co/retreats, and that's plural.
Yeah,
leslielogan.co/retreats.
We like the S's around here.
Yeah.
And so
singular takes you to the landing page for this year's retreat.
Plural takes you to a wait list so you can
Plural goes to the wait list.
Yeah. And so I just hope you come. I know that here's the thing, what I know that it's a big deal for you to plan a trip that crosses the ocean. And I know how easy it is to say, I'll do next time, because you think that next time will be easier than this time, or the next time will be easier than this time. You are never going to feel ready.
No.
Ready is a lie.
It's like having kids.
And we don't know that, but every person we know who has a kid, they're
like buying a house.
You're never ready. Yeah. So what I would just say is like, make the plans, put it in there, put it in your calendar, or put it on your list of things you want to do in 2023, and look for ways to make that happen.
Yep.
Because you will never ever regret going. We did a retreat in March of 2020, and every person who came, with all the uncertainty that there was couldn't be more uncertainty then, because we're like, what's going on? I don't know. And we all went. None of them regretted it.
No.
They all still talk to each other since then. They still talk to each other. We've got ones that had babies since then. All this stuff has happened, and they're so glad they went when they did.
Yeah.
And so I'm just saying, you should be there sooner than later.
You should be there. Yes. Well, anyway, that is exciting. We love talking about Cambodia, and I know that you know that, diehard listeners. If you're a first timer, welcome to our world.
Hello.
Hello.
I'm Lesley Logan.
Yeah, and I'm Brad.
You know what we don't do on this recap is we don't even introduce ourselves.
Oh yeah, I thought about that the other day.
We do it at the very end.
Yeah.
And our coach Jill and Danny, on every one of their episodes, they go, "This is Jill Coleman." They all make sure that you know the voices, and we're gonna make all the assumptions you know while you're here, and we would sink or swim. Here we go.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll change the script.
Okay, now let's talk about Elle Russ. Okay, a firm believer that confidence is the key to success in almost every area of your life. Elle Russ is the author of Confident as Fuck. She's a speaker and a podcaster. She helps clients materialize dreams and goals, create better business and personal relationships, and become the best at whatever it is that they are doing. She's also a world-renowned thyroid expert that has overcome her own health struggles to find full confidence. So the thyroid portion of this, you guys didn't even get into it.
No.
During the episode.
No.
I was actually very interested in that, but looks like we're going to have Elle back.
We'll just have to have her back, because the thyroid thing is this crazy thing that's going on in this world that we're people need to know more about. So, and that could be affecting you being it till you see it. If your thyroid's off, guess what, y'all, you're not functioning to your best. So
yeah,
another episode. So what I loved in this episode is, what is confidence?
Yeah.
And she said, confidence is some of the thoughts you think and then the actions you take. And yeah.
Confidence is the sum of the thoughts that you think and the actions that you take.
Yeah, because you can think about something all the time, but if you don't take any action, then actually you actually are going to create lack of confidence because you've got all these ideas and you don't do anything, and so now you don't have any, like, you don't have this like data of showing like I do the things that I'm thinking about. And so I really loved how she said that, because people are always like, what is confident? How do you become more confident? Well, take the sum of your thoughts and then take some action.
That you take. I mean, I know on this pod you've heard Lesley say, 100 times if you've heard her say it once, action creates clarity, and clarity creates...
Action's an antidote to fear.
Sorry, yeah.
No, I say, it says, action brings clarity, and action is the antidote to fear. When you have a fear, if you take action, it's the antidote, and then boom, clarity arises. So I guess you could say clarity is the antidote to fear. Maybe not all the time, but I think some of the time can be that way. So you didn't jack it up. I think
I've never understood it that way before, but yes, action brings clarity, and clarity is the antidote to fear.
Yeah.
So
go with that.
Yeah. So, but basically, that's what she's talking about here too. Confidence is the sum of your thoughts and then the actions that you take.
Yeah, when you take action, you get clarity. So then you take more action, you get more clarity, and it just kind of snowballs in there. And I think it's really easy for us to think some thoughts about something that's amazing, and then we think about all the things that are reasons why we shouldn't do it, and then of course you feel like shit afterwards. Like, no one walks away from a self-talk of like all the reasons why they shouldn't do something feeling good about themselves. But if you take some action, it doesn't have to be big action. It can just be like Googling the thing that you're thinking about doing, right? Like, listen to Lori Harder. She wants to have she's going to have a beverage company. She didn't know how to like make a beverage. So she could have just thought about how she doesn't know how to do that. And then she was like, okay, I'm just going to take this one action, like Google. How do I do that? And then she found some words she didn't know, and then she Googled those. And like those, even just Googling is an action you can take to get the clarity that you want to have. And so and then that brings confidence, like, okay, I can do this because I have information around the thing that I want to do. And now I have the next step to take.
Yeah.
So I'm in. I thought I was like, oh, mic drop, and we can just put that on a frame and remind ourselves that's what it comes from. You can't just think things, and you can't just do things. You got to kind of do them together. What did you love?
So this is a little bit of a collection of things that you two were going back and forth. But as I was listening through the episode, you were talking about the necessity of speaking up for yourself. Okay, and particularly people who are like people pleaser mentality, and the idea of speaking up for yourself. So I'm going to read a whole bunch of things and then we can kind of talk about it. Okay. But you were talking about boundaries and direct communication. And basically the idea here is if you don't speak up for yourself, you end up being a victim, and you're allowing yourself to be the victim for allowing whatever it is to happen to you, right? If you don't speak up for yourself. And her example was her friend was getting her hair cut, and she wanted it to be flat across the bangs. But her barber or hairstylist was doing like choppy, right? And then she came back the next time and like still did it choppy. And so, she's allowing herself to be the victim of this, and it's building resentment, and it's all these things. And what you two were discussing, which I thought was really amazing, was you can be declarative and not confrontational. Mm-hmm. Okay, declarative and not confrontational. So you can say, hey, I would love for my bangs to be flat this time. That's not confrontational. Not like, hey, asshole, last time I told you to cut them flat and you made them choppy, right? That's confrontational. So you can be declarative. It doesn't have to be confrontational. We can say what is on our mind, and it doesn't have to be a huge sit down. It doesn't have to be like, okay, can I have 5 minutes of your time? Just the two of us. I just need to talk to you about something right now. Like, that's so dramatic. That's so like you're building this whole massive thing up. And it doesn't, again, that's like leading to awkwardness, which could bring confrontation, right? And another thing you said is you can actually make people feel good while you're doing it. And so what that is, I'm sure you've heard this if you've ever been a coach of any team. and you have to critique a student or a child or anything like that, or, the coach, usually they say compliment, critique, compliment, right? You sandwich it. Okay. So compliment, critique, compliment. So, I'm so happy to be here today to get my hair cut. Hey, do you mind cutting it this time flat instead of it? Cause I know you're so good at that. Compliment, critique, compliment, right? And so it also allows you to make them feel good while you're basically correcting a behavior, or standing up for yourself, speaking up for yourself, right? It can be done in tones. If I said, cut my hair flat. Whoa,
whoa, oh my God,
right?
Get
Instead
out of my chair.
Cut my hair flat. You know what I mean? Like, so funny, right? But tones can really, really change that. I think that's enough. And I had a couple of other points, but this is like,
that was such a great part of the episode, and I really hope you all listen to it, because I've always been a proponent of, like, you should just tell people, it doesn't have to be a big deal. It could just be like, can we do it like this time? But what I loved how she said it was like, you can say, this time I'd like to do my bangs flat. And, oh, by the way, I love that shampoo you gave me last time. I'm loving that. Like, it just, and it's kind of like what you said. It's not a sandwich, but it's like, it's got the thing, and it's just part.
She called it like a throwaway talking point.
A throwaway.
Where it's like a nice compliment, and it's like, actually it softens the blow, as it were, of the critique or the harshness or the correction that you are, standing up for yourself.
Yeah. And I think also, just to go, if you've never done this before, it's okay if the first couple of times just feel really awkward and you kind of have to prep yourself, you get a little rehearsal. Yeah. That's fine. But what I hope you do is celebrate when you do it inside your house. Like, oh, I just did that. Oh, I did that. Because you're going to find that it becomes easier and easier to do that. And then people just are like, oh, wow, that person just knows what they want. No one's going to go, oh, that's a bitch. They're going to be like, oh, gosh, she always knows what she wants. She gets what she, like, that's so amazing. They're just like, you do that so well. And all of a sudden you're like the person that everyone's looking to like get the things they want. So that segment needs to be saved and re-listened to.
Yeah, 100%. It was really, really revealing for me. I think that I used to work in a job where I had to be the quote unquote bad guy with things. Like if something was wrong, I was the one asked to fix it. And so I had to go constantly have, very challenging conversations all the time. And I remember at the beginning of that, like I was stressing, I was sweating having this conversation with, and we're talking like a vendor that like made a mistake, and it was like expensive and time, and we didn't have the time or the money. And I was like, I had to basically go yell at them and not yell at them, and get them to do the thing, fix the thing without pissing them off, yet still make sure it was corrected and make sure it didn't happen again. And I just remember like, I sat down, I like literally wrote down on my, everything I needed to absolutely communicate. And then it was like, all right, cool. And then I took a nice long walk around the block, cooled my head. And then I got on a call, and I was like, okay, this wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. And then over time, over the years of having conversations similar to that, as things, as life happens in operations, there's always something that goes wrong. You kind of get good at it. You start to figure it out. And also you don't, it doesn't have to be this big, massive buildup, unless you want it to be, and that can be part of it too down the road when you know what you're doing with these kinds of conversations. And
that's something to notice. Like if you keep making things a big deal, that could be kind of a pattern that you are feeding off of a little bit. There's something there. But I want to go back to, like, I know a lot of people listen to this can be our teachers and have these clients who like ask certain things or demand certain things. And you're like, oh my God, if I don't do that, then I'm gonna lose this client. First of all, it's okay to lose that client then. Like if you are so afraid of anything that you do as the version of yourself that is the best version of yourself pissing off someone enough for them to leave, then they need to go. So that's first and foremost. And so some of your thoughts and the actions you take are going to be the confidence you need for someone to go. I had this one client, every third session she would say that we have to do things differently because it was hurting her back. And the third time she said that to me I was like, I recalled the session we had and the reason we went to a pre-Pilates session for that day, because she had told me I've spent the last 8 hours moving art around in my garage. She's an art person. And I said, when she said that, I said, look, I gave you a pre-Pilates session. It couldn't have been more protective of your back than it couldn't have been. What you have to recognize is all the things you do on the many hours you're not here with me make a difference in how your back feels.
Sure.
This is not the only thing that works your back. And so I really love working with you, but if that's going to be a problem, then this isn't going to work out. And she like snapped to it and like got, she's like, okay. And like was fine. So it wasn't fun. I did not play that through in my head beforehand because it happened in the session. Yeah. But I will say that having those thoughts about how do I stand up for myself with clients that are truly not respecting me as their teacher and wanting to be the teacher of their own session, which is not, that's not what you pay me for. You pay me to teach you. So having that and then taking that action, I got so much freaking confidence from that. I was like, oh. So I just say, you know, it's okay. I did not say it in a mean way. I like looked her in the eye. I was like really honest with her. And I said it with a smile on my face. And I just said, I hate to lose you, but you know, I want you to feel safe. And if you don't, that's okay. And you do that one time and you'll have a kick in your step, ladies. You will. And my gentlemen listening. Okay.
All right. So finally, let's talk about those beit action items. What bold, executable, intrinsic, or targeted action items can we take away from your convo with Elle Russ? So this is a two-parter where she didn't explicitly say the second part, but I inferred it. So I wanted to break it down a little bit more. She said, identify the pattern, okay? But then the two of you also had a conversation about changing the pattern, which we just briefly discussed a little bit ago. But effectively, what is the pattern that happens to me but not other people? What are those patterns that keep happening? Like, for example, I think we've talked about this before, but you're going to keep dating the same people until you change, okay? And that's funny to say. It's like the until you change part is not obvious, actually.
I know you keep thinking you change the partner, but it's actually you.
Yeah, it's actually you.
That's what Lauren Zoller would say.
Right? So what are the patterns that keep happening to me, but not other people, and why are those things happening to me? And she talked about writing them down. Write down those patterns, right? And then she said patterns will continue to happen until you stop them. And then how do you change those patterns, right? So she said to start small, okay? Small changes of these patterns, and write down the changes that you're going to make. So, you know, for example, let's say you keep getting clients that late cancel on you, okay? And I'm just going to compare this to teachers again. If you continue to get clients that late cancel you and you're annoyed by that, it's, you know, what's happening over time builds resentment, frustration, you know, anger, all the things. Eventually you explode, you know, one time and you just like throw things at the wall because they late canceled on you again, you know? And, so you can, start small, by making a change in you and making a change in your policies, in making the change in how you address these situations. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of little micro changes that you can make, but pick one and then do it.
Well, you can go back to dating relationships because everyone listening has done that. If the partner you're with never picks up picks up their dirty laundry, and you never say to pick up your dirty laundry, right. And then the one day we've all done it where you just fucking lose it.
Yeah, you'll freak out.
Like something happens, has nothing to do with the laundry, but you trip on the laundry and you're like, and you never picked this up. And they're like, you never told me. Like, you never said that bothered you.
Right.
Do you see the common denominator is you? You tripped on it. You never said anything. You kept it to yourself and you thought, oh, this will just be fine. It's not fine. If it bothers you, you have to say something. So
yeah, I mean, and definitely, you know, that's annoying.
That's a change.
I completely understand. It's annoying that they don't pick up their stuff, but like, have you expressed it? You know, and if you have, has it been in a angry way, like we talked about at the beginning, or a kind way? Yeah. You know, you know, I think start small, write down the changes that you're making, right? And then something else that she said, which kind of goes in parallel to this, is to detach yourself from people who are toxic. She was talking about confidence and dreams, and but you know, basically change could be, isolation, actually. But I just realized I'm spilling into your takeaway. So what about you? What about you?
Oh, we're just going to tell you all the takeaways and you're just going to take them? Because I'm going to just pipe in and just say, excuse me, that's my takeaway. Thank you.
Yeah. Hey, don't take my takeaway.
Don't take my takeaway.
Yeah. Don't take my takeaway. Would you not take my takeaway, please?
Hey, I loved your takeaways, but can I have my takeaway back? Thank you. So keep your dreams close to the vest. And first of all, we had a whole conversation and she was quite blunt about you hanging around people who are not super awesome for you.
Yeah.
And that bluntness might be hard to take, but I love honesty. It's the best policy. But keep your dreams close to the vest. Here's the deal. It's important to have people in your life that you can share things with. But if you don't have those people in your life, you gotta keep those things close to your vest so that you, especially if you are not yet feeling confident around things, you got to build that confidence up before you share things. Because when you share something and you are vulnerable around it, you are not yet confident in it, and someone says the thing that you're probably worried about, because they will, that's going to shatter that dream and you might not make it happen. And so you be mindful of that.
Yeah, it can be a big stumbling block with your confidence.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So, keeping your dreams close to your vest, basically, she kept referring to Mary. I don't know, apparently Mary is angry. So Mary doesn't believe in you. Mary doesn't believe in herself. Mary actually, shit talks the goals that you have and the dreams that you have. And so really, but Mary's been your best friend for 30 years. Well, Mary's not helping you. She's actually not being your friend. What she's doing is projecting her fears onto you. Yeah. Those fears could simply be her own, like lack of dreams, but those fears could also be fear of loss. If you are successful with the thing, maybe that thing takes you away from her. She doesn't want that, right? She doesn't really understand even that she's sabotaging you. Yeah. But she is.
Yeah. No. So, you may have to stop telling Mary some things, and you might have to find, I have some friends that I really tell my business stuff to, and I have some friends I just talk about life with. And It's not because the friends I talk about life with probably would totally support those business ideas and dreams, but they're not yet solidified yet all the way. And those friends that are like my life friends might not really understand it. And if I get a question that at all is where I'm a little worried in something, it could totally derail it. And it's not because they're bad, they're doing it intentionally. It's just I'm not confident around that thing yet. So make sure you know who you want to tell things to and who you don't. It's going to take practice. And if you're a 30-year-old friend of Mary that you've had forever in your life is being like that, it's okay to just start maybe don't talk to Mary every day. Maybe Mary gets a weekly call, and then maybe Mary gets a 10-day call. And if Mary asks you what's going on, because Mary built up the gumption, you can go, wow, that's amazing. Thank you for asking. I'm just really working on some things right now.
Yeah.
I love you, working on some things right now. It is okay. I don't know why a lot of people like to keep friends around that don't make them feel happy. They're so afraid to let go of these people. It's not that you can pick them back up when you are strong enough to handle those things. Yeah. Until you have the confidence around the things you want to do and the life you want to have, you need to be super protective of it. You need to make sure you have all the protection up before you take it out into the world, So I hope this helps you with your confidence, guys. I'm put this on repeat. I really loved it. It's so good.
Yeah. Yeah. And I can't wait to have Elle Russ back to talk about her experience with the thyroid stuff too. So
I know, Elle, that's your invitation.
Yeah.
Call us back. Well, I'm Lesley Logan.
And I'm Brad Crowell.
Thank you so much for joining us today. We are so grateful to have you here. How are you going to use these tips in your life to build your confidence? Let us know. Tag Elle Russ. Tag the Beit Pod. Share this with your girlfriend. Share with us with Mary. The one, that one in your life.
Passive aggressively send it to Mary. No, just kidding.
Hey, Mary, I really do whatever you want with it. But whatever you do, make sure that you are taking messy action, because perfect is boring. And until next time, be it till you see it.
Bye for now.
That's all I got for this episode of the Be It Till You See It podcast. One thing that would help both myself and future listeners is for you to rate the show and leave a review. And follow or subscribe for free wherever you listen to your podcast. Also, make sure to introduce yourself over at the Be It Pod on Instagram. I would love to know more about you. Share this episode with whoever you think needs to hear it. Help us and others be it till you see it. Have an awesome day.
Be It Till You See It is a production of As the Crows Fly Media.
It's written, produced, filmed, and recorded by your host, Lesley Logan, and me, Brad Crowell. Our associate producer is Amanda Frattarelli.
Kevin Perez at Disenyo handles all of our audio editing.
Our theme music is by Ali at Apex Production Music, and our branding by designer and artist Gianfranco Cioffi.
Special thanks to our designer Jairo Mandal for creating all of our visuals, which you can't see because this is a podcast, and our digital producer Jay Perdoso for editing all the video each week so you can.
And to Angelina Herrico for transcribing each of our episodes so you can find them on our website. And finally, to Meredith Crowell for keeping us all on point and on time.